Hello, good morning. All right, good morning. Today is January 19th, and I am in the garden, in the backyard. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a little chilly, so I am wearing a little robe that I got for Christmas. I just picked up the dog poop, so the grass is pretty clean. Um, it's pretty much towards the second half of winter, we're hoping. Um, January through February being, I think, the last frost for our zone 9A, is the stretch that we're still have to go through to get to spring. So I want to show what the garden looks like. It's a little sparse in some areas. I do have pots that kind of help liven the garden, and I have plants that have come up after the winter freeze from the Christmas winter snap. And then just show you my plans for at least for the spring garden. Today is one of those days where it's nice in the morning. It gets hot. It will be in the 70s, I think, later this afternoon. So this season, surprisingly, even despite the weather, is one of my exciting and more active um, schedules, because it allows me to see sections of the garden um, that are laying don't have anything, and also give me time to think about my vision for the next spring garden, and take into account what worked last year and what didn't work. A lot of the stuff that didn't work really was just due to the heat wave we had this last summer, coupled with the water restrictions. So I stopped watering. Most of my vegetables didn't fare well. This was when most of the native plants that I have, and they're not all pure natives here, although I'm slowly going into that direction, that they show that they're the ones who did really well. So I'm going to show what the garden looks like right now. Okay, so I'm gonna start right here. It's a little messy. This is the entrance to the side yard, and you can see this is like my scrap corner, which I want to change. I want to put more landscaping here, kind of clean it out. This is actually where my compost used to be. So I had pallets here, kind of stacked in two bins, sort of like a two-bin storage. And of course, with the humidity from Houston, it just broke down in time. So really, and most of my big cuttings, the ones that I cannot or don't want to put right underneath the plants itself, I do a lot of chop and drop here. This section is one of my more fertile ones, because again, that's been my compost site year after year. So I'm planning on landscaping this, and you can see I kind of started doing some like a trial plants, cleaning this out. I got to figure out a better way to do storage. I would love to have a shed, but don't want to spend any money on it, so that's a project that's to follow. I plan on expanding this bed right now, and kind of curve it, give me more room to plant. I have a pomegranate tree that I plan to set down here. It's a bare rootstock from Leg Creek. It's in a pot, but yeah, I'm growing trees. I have some more citrus that I don't know whether I should leave it in a pot or put it in the ground. So here's where my old calamansi tree used to be. This used to be about maybe 20 feet tall, taller than the fence for sure. But the first winter when it from 2021, I think it was 2021, that truly killed it. Although this summer, this branch started coming out of the stump, so I know then that's proof for me that the root is still alive. There's also a plant that shot up here. Now because it got cold again, obviously it looks brown, but um, I don't know if that killed it off. And you know what, I really account this because this was dormant for like an entire year, and 2022 is when this shoot started coming out, and I accounted, I think, from the comfrey. So I planted comfrey around it, really not intending to bring it back to life. I was just using this as a, I don't know, I didn't really have it cut down to the stump. I was thinking I can do something landscaping-ish to it and maybe put some plants over it. But I think the comfrey, because you know they have deep tap roots, so they must have dug in and allowed aeration to happen around this tree's roots, which allowed it to kind of encourage it to grow um, a little sprout here. But we'll see this year if that comes back up. So this is all bare right now. I had goldenrods all over the place, which was a first for me. I used to only have like the one stalk, and last year I had this genius idea to spread it around, which I realize is not the best idea. So now so here you can see the remnants. They get really tall, probably 6 feet tall. They're really nice. The only problem I had with them was because they grew so vigorous, they pretty much choked out a lot of the wildflowers that I seeded or planted. They were all in the same stage of growth, like they were the same height, but they just shut up because they are fast growers and they love the climate. So anyway, so here I had all kinds of goldenrods, but I left out some of my anchor plants. I have lilies, daylilies. I think they're lilies. Yes, or they're Louisiana iris. I'm sorry, they're Louisiana iris. They started from those clumps. Those got completely covered by the goldenrod last year. So I started just kind of spreading them out. Here I have some seeds. You can't see these little green. That's one of my my favorite ones. It doesn't look much, but it's frog fruit. So it's a low cover, it sprawls, and I heard so many good things about it from the Native Society. So I purchased a couple of them, and they've spread out in different parts of the garden. They're not as thick as other people's gardens that I've seen, but this was last year and it was truly hot last year, so I'm hoping this spring it would kind of help it thicken up a bit. So I have put down seeds where you see bare ground. That's a bee balm bergamot that I bought online. That's a thornless raspberry. You can see it. This one was actually, I'm surprised that it thrived better than the one in the other side of the garden that I was actually cultivating more than this one. This one was my, okay, you grow there, and if you live, good for you kind of thing, and it actually did better. And I think it's because it got shaded, and there's a sprinkler right there. So this thing right here, you see the PVC and this stick right here, that is my recent acquisition, and I'm so excited for it. I'm sure it's going to be at least a couple years, hopefully, before it gets into a nice tree. But this is a fruit cocktail tree, so I bought it again from Leg Creek, the same as the other trees that I have here, most of the trees at least. It's a bare root. It's a stock that would give us 2 kinds of peaches, 2 kinds of plums, and something else. At least there was like 6 different types of fruits. So it's called a fruit cocktail. Saw it posted. I got an email talking about the sale, and I just went up and got it, even though it wasn't in my budget. So excited for that. I just planted that yesterday. And so one of the other trees from Leg Creek that I started as a rootstock is this peach tree. So this peach tree is going on 3 years now. So it started small, similar as the other one, and last year on one of the branch in the back, it gave me like 3 fruits, and obviously it wasn't good fruit yet. It didn't really produce into a juicy set, but it was a sign. It was a good sign. So right around maybe March, I'll start pruning this. When I start seeing the growth, I need to clean it up, and you'll see why. So I'm trying to shape most of my plants so it will be easier to harvest. It will be more pleasing to the eye, and then it will allow more circulation and hopefully force more abundant fruits. Okay, so here in the back, you see more of the iris, the Louisiana iris. Right here, this was a beautiful salvia, and it came out purple. I forget what it is, the name escapes me, but it's right here. It is called a Betsy's Choice Salvia Sage. So it's a nice deep purple sage. I think it should be okay. It grew really well. It was a small cutting when I got it online, so, and I'm sure some seeds have come out from here too, so I'll just keep that in place. This was my purple yam. It was nice. It's a nice growing vine, kind of loops around this PVC, makes it really look really lush. And then I have I think that's Mexican petunia. That's a goldenrod right there. I need to clean that out. And here's some more goldenrods on this path that I need to clean out. Now these are wildflowers too, I think. I just don't know. I haven't done the ID yet. And here's the remnant of the moonflower. So the moonflower, I started from seeds, and now I have a whole bunch of seeds, but it's a nice flower, about the size of my palm, and it vines up. That's why I have it coming up here on this fence, and I'm just throwing the seeds around. Hopefully it will take. Here's more comfrey next to my pear tree. Actually, this pear tree looks like it's doing better than my original pear tree. So this pear tree has always suffered from like some type of black stuff on the leaves every year. So I'm encouraged by the potential or the advantage of having comfrey around the fruit tree. So I started there's a comfrey there that just started, and there's a comfrey there. That's my peach tree. See how I shaped it so that it will have more flow. Now this is not peach, this is a plum. This plum, I hope it will give me fruit starting this year. Here's the path that I left for the dogs. I gotta clean it out because you see all of these goldenrods. So imagine this entire bare area here covered in goldenrods. So took a couple of hours the other day just to uproot them. I had to gentle till it, kind of, because they are deep roots and there might still be down there. And then I put down fresh wildflower seeds from American Meadows, which have always done real great for me. So here's the view from the back. Cleanup needs to happen here. I got some leaves that I'm collecting from the neighbors. I have to clean up my front yard so I can get I know that are very clean grass and leaves. This is an aster from seed. This is just one plant. I don't think I'm gonna plant it again. It was beautiful, but it just took over. I mean, nothing else grew underneath it. Although now those are all goldenrods. I have a lot of work to do on this side. so gotta clean up more. I'm planning on putting a mix of perennials, maybe hibiscus in there. More grass for sure. This purple grass was really beautiful. There's a purple grass there. So I'm thinking of getting pink muley and kind of just probably put them around. The one surprise that I had this year, and it was a wonderful surprise, was this sad looking one. That's actually Turk's cap. I didn't plant it. I just saw one bloom, did a quick ID on my app, and lo and behold, it's Turk's cap. It was beautiful. So I got some milkweed here. I'm starting out different types of milkweed, and I have them in seed, so hopefully I can get them to grow. This was a salvia. That's a blanket flower, so that's great. I have some African iris and some bearded iris. That's a bearded iris, African iris, and of course you have your comfrey. This also had some goldenrod, so I gotta clear this up. I planted some seeds there. You see where the brick is. I do a lot of trench composting, so I kind of just pick a spot, especially when I have like meat or fish, and I don't want to put it in a compost bin, so I just dig a hole deep enough and put a cover on it, and then in a month or so that will be nice and juicy compost. So I have some seeds. I think I see some sprouts growing now. Some of them are sunflowers, because this is where I've been dumping the remnants of my sunflower plants from last year. So here's another work in progress. This one I had this fenced in, but it didn't work out. It was nice. I had like a white fence. See this white fencing? So it looks really cute, but it wasn't functional. It was hard for me to get in there. I made the beds too big and the fenced-in areas too small. And then when it got hot, I didn't have water, so it was just sad. I may end up putting some of the trees here just to claim this space, because I can always create a vegetable garden plot. But the trees, I have limited areas. I mean, unless I take over the grass, which my husband probably would not like at all, because I've already done a lot of taking over. So here I'm starting a keyhole garden. I did a keyhole garden a long time ago, but it's super small. So this one is a lot longer. And my intent here, I always used to make my bed so wide because I want to cram stuff in there, but it ended up being too wide and my path so small that I can't get in, or it's hard for me to reach. So I purposely made this smaller. I mean, these are scrap fence materials. I don't even have them. I don't know that I'm gonna have them nailed together right now. All I want is for the leaves to stay in place and the soil to stay in place. But yeah, so here, this was my original. This one was just a bed up to here, so up to there. And so this was my inspiration to just extend that, put the fountain there. It's like a decorative piece. And then this is gonna be, I put down those dry leaves to mulch it, but there are walkway pavers in there, so it's gonna be pretty after it breaks down, and then I'll lift up the wood. So then last year I started this raised beds. It didn't do well, so again, it's a mixture of the heat, the water. I think I had issue with my drip irrigation, and it wasn't I had to get it fixed. And then I wasn't hand watering most days because it was super hot and lots of mosquitoes, so it didn't really do well. So I gotta rethink my approach this year if that happens again. Well, first of all, I need to make sure my irrigation is working and I have the right shading. I do have a shade cloth that I purchased from the bargain store, and so I want to put that in at some point. All right, so here's calamansi tree, and here's that other not blueberry, raspberry. Yes, it's a raspberry right here. That's a cassava, and this is a wild apple tree that I got from Lake Creek. And there, as you can see, I have a comfrey. So this was my original garden bed, vegetable bed. But last year, because this fig tree has gotten so big, it shaded out everything that was back there. But it still grew my turmeric, my 4 o'clock plants, some mint, some basil. But that used to be my okra, everything that wild vegetables, pretty much my cucumber, my string beans, my tomatoes were all in this area. And I think partly because I had no access to it, because I put a fence here, and then this branch was just kind of leaning this way. I had to cut it. You see the fresh cut, because it was so hard for me to get underneath it. Like I had to bend over. I'm still deciding whether to take this off, because that means that I like that it has this arch, but functionally speaking, it prevents me from going in there, and it's just too hard for me to bend down. So I may end up, now that I'm thinking about it, I may end up just taking this out. Yeah, so that's the piece that I took out. This is a traveling Egyptian onion, and it's supposed to bud, and when it buds, it bends over to the ground and then it travels from there. This was an African okra. I didn't really do well for me, and again, because I stopped watering. But I thought there was a drought tolerant, that's why I stopped watering. So here's a fig tree. It's already starting to bud, but again, winter's not over. Here's the middle area. I do have the Meyer lemon. Now this Meyer lemon has a brother or a sibling which is in a pot. So I originally got this from a neighbor, and who said it wasn't doing well. It was small in a pot, and I realized it was 2 trees in there, and so I had put one here and in a pot for safekeeping, and it was the one in the pot that actually gave me fruits before this one. So I don't know what the deal is. So I got lemon, they got mint in there. I got oregano growing, a hibiscus. This is generally where I have milkweed growing. I had tomatoes here last year, and I'm not gonna do any more tomatoes here unless I put it in the pot. It just got too much to manage. It was just too wild, and it wasn't giving me anything. It was just depressing for me. So I'm thinking of either growing another citrus here, which is this tangelo, into this spot, and then keep this as like a center feature. I don't know yet. So this is still a work in progress. So here, see my grapes. My grapes did really well, but they're so sour. It's just so pretty to look at. So I bought grapes from Lake Creek. So this is from Lake Creek also. That's supposed to be more sweet. Problem is, I don't know where to put this supposed sweet grape. I haven't quite decided yet. I may have to set up some type of arbor right here, or like those grapevine fences. uh, that actually looks pretty good. Yeah, I might just do a fence right here, for the grapevine to sprawl on. Okay. Here's the sibling of the Meyer lemon, that was on the ground, and it's already flowering. I don't know if you can see it. You see it's already flowering, and it gave me about, I think, 4 or 5 lemons last year. They were big too. All right. My dogs are starting to get really hungry. It's 8 o'clock, 8:30, and I haven't fed them. Here's prickly pear, which we got for free, and I've kind of propagated it. Isn't it so cute? It looks like a creature clapping. These are the hands, and it's its flat head. I imagine them like little aliens. Here's another work in progress. I haven't trying to decide whether I want to expand the garden or just keep the gravel. So I do want more plants, and then just put pavers on the ground so I can still have a walking path. Don't know yet, so I'm still playing with that idea. This is a volunteer crepe myrtle that I thought died because it was in a pot. No, it died here. It was in a pot, and apparently some of the roots stayed, because now it's growing again. Then I have these other area that last year I finished that, the pavers finally. This is not hard to do. I liked it. The only hard part was really having the bags hauled into the backyard, which I had to ask my son to do. And so since I'm having back issues, I can't really do much to that. So it would be nice if I can just extend this all the way around, right here, and so have like an extension of the patio. And these are so easy to pop out. It's not completely permanent. So here's my Ligularia. I'm glad that it's growing. So I got scared that it might have frozen over. Now the one in the front, the one that I really like, the tractor seat, I haven't seen it, and that is so hard to get. I had to special order that. I have honeysuckle is blooming now. I got oregano. I'll be mixing this with more herbs. Salvia. That's a marshmallow. No, it's a marsh something. It's pretty cute, but it dies in the heat, so it's really just a winter plant. Here's a volunteer, like a cutting of a peach tree. That's a volunteer apple. I don't know what it will be. It's a volunteer calamansi tree. And here's my my garden tower. It did pretty decent, although I thought it would have more, but again, it was too hot. I watered very seldom. And here I just kind of have my setup for my patio. I got tools everywhere. Cleanup is constantly happening here, moving plants around. Dogs are starting to get really hungry. This one was inside, but I may have used soil from the outside that had a ant colony in there, so I'm nursing it before I bring it back, because it died while I was gone when it was inside because someone forgot to water them, but now it's coming back up, and see how lovely they are. And I put them up, so I'm gonna put it back here. This one is moringa that I started from seeds. That's I think it's either the Christmas plant or Thanksgiving cactus. This flowered for the first time. I got this from one of the neighbors. She gave me like little pieces of these, and some of them died, some of them went well. That's fire nice. This is one of my popular ones. I got this for free too. And this is my one of my giveaway plants. Aloe calamansi that I purchased, I started from seed. This one, what is this one? If that one was a tangella, then what is this? I think this must be a Mexican lime. Oh crap, I forgot what this is. This must be a Mexican lime. We'll find out. Got succulents and cacti here. This is one of the hotter parts of the patio. I'll eventually have to take this. Actually, I need to move this because it's getting too hot. I'm just gonna have to put you here down on the ground. It's too hot there. And then I'll put you back up here because this was its home before. And then I just set it down. I don't know. I keep moving stuff around. It looks crowded, but it'll work for now. Okay. I extended this walkway with leftover paver sand, so my goal is to just add more of the rocks, push them over here. I don't know, eventually I may just end up doing permanent pavers, I think, because look at that. It was so, they just get so much weeds, and the weeds just take over. So we'll see, budget willing. Here's a hibiscus from cuttings. That's a Mexican lilac. I know a lot of these things, I know the names, and then when I describe them out loud, different names come out. Here's a sampaguita. I didn't bring this inside, but I did cover it. It flowered last year, so hopefully it will come back. This was a gift from North Carolina. Got oregano. I love that the oregano decided to just be a ground cover. So I'm gonna take a cue from what it's trying to do there, and probably just have them put them in the other parts, move some of them, the cuttings, in the other parts of the garden. I got some cutting there. That's a rose that I rescued from the neighbor. It was in a really sorry part of her front yard, which is getting shaded by the oak trees. And when I had it in a pot for a few months, and then just kind of been moving it around, and then it just started kind of getting longer, and it grew one flower. It gave me one flower. So I said, okay, you're ready to be a real grown-up rose. I am going to stick you here. I put really good soil there, and it did really well with the spring, with the winter. Nice leaves. So I'm getting I got into a rose kick last year. So I got areas here. Now this area is bare, but last year this spider lily was so huge it pretty much covered whatever it is that's bare here. I moved my lemongrass from the front yard, which was being shaded by the oak tree. That's doing well. I have dianthus in here. Is it dianthus? Yes, dianthus. Yes. And I have some flowering plants here. This honeysuckle that I got from as free from a cutting from one of the growers. It was growing in front of her front yard on her fence. And then spider lily. This area right here is where my I just kind of planted my turmeric. Now I'm kind of sad about this part, and that's on me because I didn't take care of it. There's a really nice plant here that died because it got shaded out by this taller plant. It's called what is it called? The Baptisia. Yep. I don't know if the roots took, but it got shaded out by the Russell, and then it wasn't getting watered. I realized last year I bought a whole bunch of cuttings, cost me a good amount of money collectively, but individually they were not that expensive. But I didn't really take care of them. I just stuck them in the ground and said, good luck to you. And here's another hibiscus and spider lily. So that's the garden, work in progress, and hopefully in a month or so it will all fill in. Borders will be moved, new plants will arrive, new seeds will sprout, and then we'll put another update. All right, thank you.